Today, we're taking a look at one of the funnest builds you can have on a battleship at tier 10, and that is the full reload Republic build. This ship can have an insane reload this patch. With some of the new commander skills, you can get your reload down into the 13 to 15 second range on a Republic. And keep in mind, if you don't know about this ship, this has 30mm overmatch with 431mm guns. It has, I believe, around 14,000 alpha. It is massive. The shell velocity is pretty good. It's not the best, but it is pretty good, so you can get out to longer ranges and hit people pretty hard. The pen is basically Yamato levels, and this results in some of the most scary guns at tier 10, especially for cruisers. You do not want to face a Republic. In its stock form, its reload is fast enough that most cruisers can't, if they're stuck bow in, dodge a salvo and then complete a full turn out. That is something that a normal 30-second reload would allow to majority of tier 10 cruisers. Republic, you can't do that against it. That's one of the main strengths, is when you catch a cruiser bow in, there's not a whole lot they can do. Of course, against battleships, you do struggle a little bit more when they angle, but the HE, as we'll see in a little bit, it's pretty good. It's not Conqueror, but it's pretty solid stuff. The dispersion is really oddly flat. It's like a pancake. You get really wide dispersion, but the vertical is very, very short. So against flat broadsides, you're going to do quite a bit of damage. And it's not super consistent at that, but every once in a while you get that perfect salvo and you just crush someone, right? And it feels really, really, really good. Just keep an eye out on our reload here. The mod I have isn't taking into account Adrenaline Rush for some reason, so we are getting a little bit better reload than it shows on the timers there. But you saw how my reload just changed, actually, to be that normal 19 seconds instead of where it was at around 17. That's because somebody wasn't in my secondary range. That is one of the skills we're taking. Also, for every fire we have on us, we get 5% better reload. We have improved Adrenaline Rush because of one of the French commanders, so we were just able to sneak a shot in there and delete that Seattle. There's quite a few shots in that last set of clips where I probably wouldn't have had those extra salvos out had I been a more normal build. Of course, this is also using the unique upgrade or legendary upgrade on the ship, so you notice our range is pretty dreadful at the moment. So we do need to play smart. We're looking to play on flanks, not in the middle of the map. The middle of the map generally relies on having good enough range, because you generally have to play a little farther back. But flanks like this, Republic with 19-ish kilometers range is good enough. It feels a little lacking, and it is a little more difficult in CV games, but it's a ton of fun, this reload. You get, well, without any of your buffs, just the normal build, you get a 19.4 second reload, I believe, so less than 20 seconds. That's less than Stalingrad's reload normally. It's heavy cruiser levels of reload, and while you don't have the best armor in the Republic, I would say you're about as tanky as a heavy cruiser, maybe a little bit more so since they no longer get fire prevention and other skills to deal with fires, so it's a pretty sweet build. I'm not actually running any of the healing upgrades. I am trying to just go full damage output, and that is it. We are running the aiming systems mod, so our secondaries don't get to 12.5 to give us that extra 10% reload out to that distance, so we're trying to play within that 11 kilometer range, or at least have someone within the 11 kilometer range, if that's possible. I think running accuracy is just a little bit more important on the main guns, instead of that extra 1.5 kilometers for the little bit of reload you can possibly get. The tactic that I was looking to use was I was trying to find islands where I could push up to them, and there's a lot of islands like this on a lot of the maps where there's a giant island in the middle of the map, and both sides can pretty much approach these islands for free. And if you get to that island and people are spotted on the other side of that island, you're getting that 10% reload buff from somebody being inside your secondary range. That is the goal. You know, you can think of maps like North, where the D cap or C cap, depending on the configuration, right? There's that channel, and then there's a giant island to the left of the cap, and everybody likes to camp behind that, and that's a really, really good spot to put this, because you're always going to have somebody spotted in your secondary range, pretty much all the time there. And then you can cross map over to the other sides of the maps or over the island with your improved reload. And Republic with a sub 15-second reload is terrifying. It's already terrifying at 21 seconds, which is the normal reload mod build, without any of the extra buffs that AR might give to you. So 15 seconds, I think at best I saw around 13 seconds, although that did require me to be on a couple of fires and somebody within my secondary range. So safe to say I did die pretty quickly after that one. But it's pretty funny to see the reload go down to these insanely low numbers for guns of this size. So here, you notice I'm stopping, and that's because the Yamato is slowing down. I want to keep that extra 10% reload that I'm getting of him being within my secondary range. And secretly, I'm hoping the GK or the Hirugumo lights me on fire so I can get another 5% reload. We're also running the Expert Loader perk so that we can swap to our HE and our AP a little bit faster. And that can help us finish off targets a little bit easier when we need to swap to the AP or do a little more damage to a bowing battleship, right? So it is a bit of a difficult build to play. This is not an easy build to play, primarily because you're looking to play at similar ranges to what the Kurfürst does. If you saw my kind of 3-part guide I uploaded recently, it's looking to play at similar ranges, but it has worse armor, worse health, worse survivability at those ranges. But there's a bit of a philosophy where who needs good defense when you have such good offense, right? And that is this build entirely. You are all out offense and you're trying to kill the other guy before they kill you. That is pretty much how it goes. And, you know, we're not bad. We got 2 million potential damage this game alone, which isn't amazing, but it's okay for a tier 10 battleship so focused on the offensive side. So that one did end up in a loss. We couldn't carry that one out. I think I ended up eating gearing torpedoes in that one. So again, not the tankiest experience in the world, but in a match like this, oh my goodness, what perfect matchmaker is this? We're the only battleship, and there's cruisers for days. So I don't know what this says about the game, but it might mean that Wargaming could look into buffing battleships a little bit. That's how, you know what I'm saying? They're probably never going to do that because they do really good damage, even though they have low battle impact. So the damage alone will keep them in a okay enough state that I doubt they're going to do any blanket buffs for battleships, but I can hope, you know, considering it's the class I play the most. But here we're going to see some of the weaknesses of the shorter range. There is a Minotaur and a Des Moines that are about to be smoked up together, and especially since I believe the Des Moines might be range mod, we're going to have a tough time actually getting any damage in here, and staying in range is going to be very difficult because they have DDs spawning for them, and, well, there's no way for me to really do anything against them. So we're going to play a little bit far back, and of course, as the only battleship in the game, everybody's going to be looking to farm me, right? If you're a cruiser looking for damage numbers and you're in this kind of matchmaker, you're pretty upset, and then if you do see that lone battleship, you're going to be like those seagulls in Finding Nemo, mine, trying to get the HP out of me. So we're trying to play a little bit passive. We're trying to play at a reasonable range, and you can see that basically means anything we're shooting at is at the very max of our range, unless it's a DD, of course. So we're not getting the benefit of our reload buff with our secondaries in this one as much, but you know, the AR and the extra reload you get from just having the legendary mod is generally going to be enough to have some pretty insane ability to punish these cruisers and people who don't think you're going to be reloaded in time. I think that's one of the more fun parts about this build is everybody's at this point, you know, once you're at tier 10, you kind of have an internal clock that you've developed over playing this game where you think you're not counting the seconds between reloads, but you have a general idea of, oh, that battleship's probably going to be reloaded soon. Well, the Republic reloads in half the time that a normal battleship does, so with this build at least, assuming you're on a fire or two, or maybe you've use some AR in that. So that is going to catch a ton of people off guard. And you're going to see that you're going to catch more broadsides just because of that. People aren't going to be considering you as a threat because they'll think you just shot. And that's one of the more interesting parts of this build. I'll be honest though, with this build, I was thinking it was just going to be a meme. I saw it in the comment section on a while ago, actually. I don't remember which comment was or whoever had this idea, but kudos, you have come up with an insanely fun build that is kind of ridiculous. And I expected myself to not really have any good games, but maybe get one that I could upload to YouTube. But surprisingly, I had just a lot of good games in this thing. And, you know, of course, there's blowouts here and there, but that's with every ship. So I had surprisingly good results, surprisingly consistent results with this build. So with the rework happening and the free respecs, I figured it would be a build that I would run for a little bit as a meme to make a video on, and then I would just swap back to my normal build. But honestly, this makes the Republic really fun to play for me, so I'm probably gonna just leave this build on it because it just enhances everything that the Republic is. This long-range damage dealer that has almost cruiser level of reload on its massive battleship guns, and of course you have to worry about the weaker armor of having only 32 millimeters everywhere. So it is a all or nothing type of build, and I think those are generally more fun, at least for me, considering I do have a lot of ships in this game already, and I don't need just another battleship that does normal battleship things, right? I can just play a Montana if I want the vanilla battleship experience, right? So having these extra unique builds maybe is a good change of pace. I don't remember what happens here, but I feel like a broadside Moskva should get absolutely crushed by a Republic, right? No, okay, we maybe aimed at a little too low. This will be a bit of a theme with this Moskva. Well, look at how fast we got that reload in. I wasn't even ready to talk about the next shot, and we already were shooting again. That's how fast it is. But we do miss that second one. But we nearly caught him in a turn with 2 salvos, not just 1 salvo. We had 2 in the air as he was completing his turn. And of course, Moskva's not the best for making quick turns, but it is a pretty good illustration of how fast this thing can reload and how it can potentially catch people off guard, as we absolutely smash that guy. I think that this build will be hard to run for a lot of people, and I don't think it's worth buying the legendary upgrade or unique upgrade for the Republic if you don't have it. Unfortunately, Wargaming is slowly taking away the free-to-play aspects of this game and making it more and more pay-to-win, where you used to be able to earn the legendary upgrade modules by playing the ship that the upgrade is for. Now you gotta do these regrinds that give you research points, and then you can buy the upgrade for the ship. And yes, I completely understand that that is available for free, but let's be honest, the Research Bureau was not designed for free-to-play players. It is designed for paying players who have millions of free XP and are willing to convert XP or have a ton of flags and camos that they've purchased through loot boxes and gotten as a result of maybe they're getting loot boxes for the Missouri and they get all these extra flags and that helps them get the free XP. I don't think that the Research Bureau is a great example of a free-to-play experience for people, especially compared to how the legendary upgrades used to be. That was a really awesome free-to-play way of getting these modules. They were a really cool modification to a ship that you've been playing a lot, because you did have to grind out quite a few games to get them, and I thought that was a really cool design. But the way Wargaming is going these days, they're seemingly trying to pull out those cool player-focused designs and looking to suck as much money as possible from you. So I don't think you should go for the legendary upgrade. It's way too expensive in time and effort or money if you decide to just free XP it. And it really doesn't add too much to the ship. Honestly, you could run this build with a normal reload mod, and I think it would be pretty much as good, if not better, because you have more opportunities to have longer range shots, cross maps, that kind of thing. And the little bit of reload you get from the legendary upgrade might be mitigated by the extra salvo or two you get just because you're in range of more people. There it is. Okay, finally we get the broadside Moskva. I've never seen a Moskva that tanky, that broadside. And at this point, we do end up beaching, but I think we live here, but don't get any more damage. So the build we've got on this thing is, again, crazy offensively focused. In fact, we have 0 defensive skills. I'd argue that concealment is being used offensively in this case as we're trying to approach that secondary range. You'll notice I'm actually not even running manual secondaries, even though we have that 11 kilometers of range, because I think that having this insanely fast reload is just going to do more damage than the little bit of extra we'd get from our secondaries. So that's what I've done in this one. Furious, of course, also an attack skill. They even say it right there. This is not used for defense at all. And the reload you get, well, 10% for 2 fires on your ship. That's not too hard to accomplish with the fire spammers these days. Adrenaline Rush, this is the improved one with one of the special-ish French commanders. And then I am running Turret Traverse as well as Gun Feeder on this one, just to get us a little bit more comfortable use of those main guns since we are fully building for them. And if you didn't know what it does, here is the legendary mod, or unique upgrade they call it now, since they swapped to the pay-to-win model from the free-to-play friendly experience that was earning them as you played the ship. But there it is. The main battery firing range down 24%. And all you get is a 6% extra reload from the main battery mod. As a little extra bonus, you still keep your traverse speed. There is no traverse speed penalty, and that's why the turrets were looking pretty quick in this video. Concealment system, I think that's just necessary if you're trying to push in or use a build with such little range. Steering gears mod, I think this was useful just because I was oftentimes running at full speed, maneuvering, that kind of thing. You could argue for a prop mod if you're wanting to speed juke. With the speed boost, that can work as well, and damage control can help you out a little bit as well to deal with those fires. Aiming systems over secondary battery, it's up to you. You could play around. I think both of them would be interesting, since you would get your 10% reload a little bit sooner, and in a few more situations. I'm using engine boost, but you really don't need it. Probably just run damage con. And main armaments, pretty simple build there, but a fun one. And I really enjoyed my time with it, and honestly, I'm just going to leave my Republic like this. I'm going to lock it in whenever the patch drops, and we can no longer freely redistribute points on our commander skills or freely demount upgrades. Wouldn't it be wonderful if Wargaming left it like that so you could have some choice on your skills, much like the console game allows you to redistribute the commander skills on your ships, and you don't have to pay anything for it. But I guess this game's a little farther along in its life, and therefore is not gonna have any player-friendly additions. So that's the Republic, and if you do try this build, let me know how it goes. It's not for everyone, but I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.